So I think we all know where this is going because I not seen too many paternity frauds on national TV. Everybody in the United States are just getting their bags like crazy, collecting child support monies that is not even for adults, it's for the child. If you think about it, I personally believe that this law in Tennessee is finna make some women mad, as they should, because you're not gonna be going around putting up a front or put on a facade trying to make everybody think that you're poor, that your baby daddy ain't this and that, but in actuality, you're the one that is doing the most. So I wouldn't be surprised if we've seen some angry women on TikTok, aka the feminists, getting triggered over this new bill. Now what? Y'all better stop playing with men out here, man. Like it's not a game.
That is requiring paternity tests before you sign the birth certificate. Because when people do paternity tests, 1/3 of the time they end up not being the father, and if they start testing everybody, that number can only go up, not down.
Oh shit!
It's going to be dramatic, and right now they're starting to also add in things like maternity fraud is a crime, a punishable crime. So guys used to go to jail for not paying child support on a child that wasn't theirs, because the state wants to get their money, because if there is no father to pay for the child support, somebody has to pay for it, so they push it onto the nearest person that could be a father figure. And they're actually starting to jail time the ladies for maternity fraud.
I'm just gonna say this right here. Child support is a scam. And let me tell you why. Because after you divorce, you're not getting anything, the house, the mortgage, the cars, everything that was yours is now your ex-wife's. So she gets to keep everything. And I think that right now, we're getting justice because women have been getting away with this stuff for years. Because they're not going to get any more alimony. Alimony. Like, they're not going to get any more of the alimony stuff. Because after you divorce, that stops completely. And as for the laws in Tennessee, boy, the men out there are going to end up going crazy, celebrating, and happy because they ain't got to worry about paying no more child support. They're going to get their monies back. I bet you this would be the feel-good moment. Though there are some shitty fathers out here that refuse to be in their child's life. And that's why they're being put on child support because of that, because of their actions. So there is some truth to it as to why they've been put on child support, because of how they didn't want to be in their child's lives after they had a baby by their baby mother. And when you think about it, man, every Pookie and Riri I see in real life nowadays, I've seen women pregnant everywhere. And you barely see the baby father with them. I'm like, what the hell is going on in this world? Everybody is popping babies left and right. Like, whatever happened to the good old days when y'all used to wait before marriage? Now everybody just popping babies left and right. Y'all are not going to get away with this anymore. Like, the days of you collecting child support payments, getting alimony, is done. Things are finna change in Tennessee. But the question is, can they do the same in DC? I highly doubt.
Crime. And yes, it's a crime.
So look like some of these politicians starting to get a little bit of balls here,
Uh-huh.
passing something like this, which is definitely unprecedented at this point.
Yeah.
Because I'd never heard of this, and I know a lot of guys, a lot of these videos I cover, we talk about this, fellas, about women being punished for paternity fraud because they're just using this, and there is no real punishment that goes for these false allegations. Just talked about another situation just in divorce, family court, whatever have you, because this is a family court issue, but is becoming a criminal issue by locking your ass up and putting you in jail based off a woman saying that. And there's a lot of dudes that have to go through this red tape. And like he said, a third of them in terms of the child support when they do take the test, the chance of you being the father is just crazy. That's just how often these clubs are getting shot up. And
Yeah.
these women are blaming it on a certain guy, and it's not the case.
They always do that.
A lot of you guys who are watching this.
Now, here's the weird thing about talk shows nowadays, because Maury shows are the worst. It's like any time when a baby father comes on stage, everybody boos him because he's a bad dad without ever hearing his side of the story. But once the results come back that he's not the father, they always act crazy, act retarded, run backstage, acting like wild animals because they pinned the baby on the wrong guy. Because they might have thought that day he was the father. I think this really goes to show you that if women make choices with their bodies without anybody, judging them, then they're going to expect some huge and harsh judgments because of their actions. If you don't keep your legs closed, you're going to end up having more kids. I was watching the Pink Book Lessons video on his, shout out to her by the way, and it was about this broad from DC. She not had like 10 kids. All the other niggas that this girl that slept with, and she not had a baby by every single one of them. And she's been in court 100 times, 10 times. And what's even gross about this whole thing is she's on there crying crocodile tears, and she's so emotionless. Even a judge was not feeling it. She wasn't even buying it. So she's in trouble. And I just want to say, let this be a lesson to every man that is watching this. Do not go around sleeping with these 304s that don't like you. If they ain't feeling you, don't put your magic stick in them. Once they found out they get pregnant, that's your fault. Like, y'all simps be the one picking these Poogies. I'm dead serious when I said this, y'all. Things are about to get changed. No, things are about to be changed in America. Women are not getting any more alimonies. And now in Tennessee, they're going to be charged with paternity frauds. Pinning babies on the wrong men. Claiming that they are the fathers, but they're not. And you putting them on child support because whatever reason. But when you think about it, most women I see, they do pay child support. But we all know the feminism and feminists are angry about it. That it should be the men that pay child support, not women. Women are innocent. They're beautiful. They're powerful. They can never do such things as what men are doing. Rape, paying child support, going to jail for domestic violence. And look what happened now. Look at Halle Berry, for example. Paying child support. 3 failed marriages. And she is also a terrible mother. Having her son wear heels. And then posting it on social media like it's funny. Ain't nothing funny about a little boy wearing heels. This is why I've always said, fellas, please be in your children's lives. I'm telling you, because if you're not in your child's lives, you know exactly what's going to happen.
Stories of this stuff. And women don't even, they can do it because they don't, nothing's going to happen to them. Even though, like I said, the power of a woman being scorned supersedes.
Yeah.
She just wants to see a man
That's
hurt.
like they all do.
But she'll gladly spread her legs open to any Tom, Dick, and Harry and let him squirt. And it's crazy. And you guys are stuck having to deal with it. And a lot of these guys are being put on child support for kids that aren't theirs. So, yes, this should be man.
Wasn't I just saying that a few seconds ago? Women open up their legs, not keeping them closed, squirting, having babies left and right. And dudes, a lot of simps be picking these pookies, are dealing with the nonsense. And now they're being put on child support. Wasn't I just saying that a few seconds ago? Wasn't I just saying that a few seconds ago?
A lot of time with the state, a lot of funding, and as he said, Somebody has to pay for it if you can't find the father, and the
Crazy.
state has been footing the bill for far too long. I just did a story recently that you guys probably remember about the guy who he was separated from his ex-wife, and she got pregnant while they were separated before their divorce. And even though the state proved that he wasn't the father and it was established paternity with this other man she was sleeping with, he was still financially liable for child support for this child.
What?
And obviously this woman had a say-so in it, but they felt...
So let me get something straight. Even though they were separated, she got pregnant by another man. But how is it fair that even though he was still financially stable, that they put him on child support when the ex-husband was not even the father, and they got him on child support still, and yet the other man should be on child support. So why isn't he on child support? And especially when she had a baby by him while they were separated. Make it make sense.
He was stuck with paying for a child because they were legally married.
Joseph Shamilar is a divorced dad of 2. Not even 9 months after the split, Joe got some shocking news from his boys.
They got in the car and they were bouncing up and down, telling me that mom has a new baby. And I said, well, is she babysitting? Is she, is she looking after someone?
She had gotten pregnant during their separation by another man. Legally, she was still married to Joe. Court papers clearly acknowledge the baby is not Joe's, but Albert Bush's, and that Bush had established a personal, financial, or custodial relationship with the child. The court ordered medical expenses be split between the biological parents.
What?
But the Friday before Father's Day, Joe got a letter in the mail from friend of the court.
I thought, my God, this is hilarious. It's Father's Day weekend, and here's the biggest joke that I think I've ever had played on me. Transpiring right now.
The letter said he owed $8,500.
The other dude that I mentioned in this clip, why isn't he paying child support? He's working, he has a job, so why isn't he paying child support instead of the ex-husbands? That woman should be charged with paternity fraud, even though they're separated. And yet, y'all got this man paying back child support for the kids they're not in your heads. Do you know exactly what's that going to do to a man mentally? Of course you don't. Because society doesn't care.
Medical expenses for a baby his ex-wife had with another man.
What?
How fair is that?
It's not.
What is wrong with ladies? Why do y'all do stuff like this? Especially if you don't know who's that baby's daddy. But they say a lot of times women do know who that baby's daddy is. But if you know, why would you do this to this? Because it's embarrassing for you.
It is.
Believe it or not. It's super embarrassing. You would think. Obviously, back then, a few decades ago, we didn't have the technology we have now. But with us having the technology, you're still doing this stuff. Man, it'll definitely destroy some men, especially these amounts for some men who are really trying to do right. The amount that they are being hit with is just heinous to take care of a child, and especially when you find out it isn't yours. There was another story I did about this guy in Detroit. Never met the woman, but he was placed on child support. He had to go through all these channels to clear his name, and the woman refused to come forward when it came time.
Wow,
so basically, he wasted his time, resources to fight this stuff, looking crazy, and nothing happens to her. A woman can just find a man's name, address, and say that's the father.
Jesus,
Detroit, if I'm not
dude.
mistaken, in Michigan, and as I said, Michigan has some crazy laws in itself. But for you to push this through is just crazy to me. For a man that you never even slept with. This woman was a stripper, and they just pushed it through like it was nothing. And he could have lost his wife, lost his job, the amount of money that he was supposed to pay. And his wife, imagine your wife finding out something like this, and you're telling her, unless she really trusts you, I'm pretty sure she was hesitant until the truth finally came out, that this woman came up saying that, yes, your husband is the father of my child. And him having to go through this process and her standing next to him and him telling her, I don't even know this woman. I've never cheated on you, blah, blah, blah. And her just like, well, why would she do this? So I think
This has got to be the most depressing video I've ever seen. That man in Detroit was put on child support over a woman that he does not even know. He hasn't even met her. He never had sex with her. But randomly, she just put him on child support because of reasons. Yet there are no repercussions for these disgusting 304s. They do this all the time. He had to go to every court just to clear his name, and the woman never came forward. Like, how the hell do you do that? Because as a man, this really breaks my heart. I hate to see every man that is dealing with this crap. Every man on this earth that is paying child support, kids, they're not even theirs. Oh, this really breaks my heart, dude. And the fact that she never came forward tells me everything I need to know about modern women today. They're evil, they're conniving, they're combative, they just don't care. And the fact that he had to went through every single thing just to clear his damn name. It's not only heart-wrenching, but it pisses me off as a man to even see some trifling maniac do this to a man. For what? But you know what? Change is coming. These women are not going to get away with this anymore. No more paternity frauds. No more alimonies. In fact, why aren't they being put on child support? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Halle Berry is paying child support. Why wasn't the ex-wife and the woman in the video?
Lawmakers, a lot of other states need to definitely start following suit before your name is put on the birth certificate. Make sure. I think I covered a story in Jamaica where it's a huge issue, especially when it comes to applying for visa or citizenship when moving. You having to establish paternity. And a third, so 2/3 of the times the men are not the father, and only a third of the time they're the father. There's a lot of cheek clapping and dudes squirting left and right. This is unbelievable, ladies. Like, a lot of dudes resort to some crazy things, deletions, all types of stuff when they discover this stuff. Imagine taking care of a child. And that's why I like covering these stories, because it's so crazy. And you think that when a man loses it and goes off, and especially when you discover multiple kids aren't yours, bro, what is really going on here?
Man.
You definitely want to snap at this point, man. But I don't know. House Bill 2689, he had maternity fraud as a crime. I'm assuming he means paternity fraud. Yeah, it is what it is, man. Shout out, man. I can't wait to see this. I know a lot.
Thank God that I'm not the father. I'm not having sex with anybody. I'm not in a relationship. There's a reason why I'm staying single, because I would rather deal with my own personal issues than to deal with drama, baby mama drama, being put on child support, and putting up with the mess that they put me through. I would rather I would rather stay single than to be in a toxic relationship that is going to destroy my life. Seriously. But man, to any man that is watching this video, I feel bad for you. First of all, I just want to say that to any man that is watching this, I feel so bad for you, because I hate for you to be going through this, being put on child support over a child that is not even yours, and yet you're still paying for it. The mother and the woman that is putting you on child support, she should be going to jail for paternity fraud. That needs to be everywhere in the world. Not just one state, one city, in one country. It needs to be everywhere. That's why a lot of these men are suffering, because they have no money. They're broke because of them paying child support and losing alimonies and stuff. Why do you think the bill changed in Florida? That they're not going to be getting any more alimonies. And yet you got some angry feminists on TikTok getting mad over it. Imagine the amount of angry response you're going to see about this new law, this new bill being passed in Tennessee, that paternity fraud is a crime. It should have been a crime a long time ago. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of these men out here are getting justice. And I hope that they are starting a new chapter in their lives without having to deal with disgusting women like that. I'm for real. So shout outs to J.R. Winston. All credits go to him. Link to the original video down below. I'ma holler at y'all.